All right. My question is this: so everybody can speak and have a time chance. Just ask one simple question. For the next Board of Education, we're electing 4 people, in my understanding. What do you feel like you can bring to the table for the children of Davie County if you're elected as to the Board of Education this next term?
Is this okay? Good. Okay, I think everyone is well familiar with where I stand as far as what I can bring to the table. I think my abilities in finance, back when the high school issue was dealt with, I looked at that plan and I issued a position, and the Lord has blessed me with the ability to take massive amounts of financial data, put it together in a useful format, analyze it, and make smart decisions. So that, for me, is the biggest asset that I'm going to bring to the table, come January of 2017. But there's other things too. From a curriculum standpoint, I'd like to see more emphasis on the foundation of our nation. Bring back a conservative, the founding fathers and the story of the fact that we live in a constitutional republic. We do not live in a democracy. I use the analogy of a democracy as 2 wolves and a lamb trying to decide what's for dinner. That's really what a democracy is. We live in a constitutional republic, and that's really what I'd like to leave the kids heading into the world. But we've talked a lot about jobs. I'm in the private sector, and the collegiate side is swamped. There are so many people with 4-year degrees, and the degrees that they've gotten them in are not getting them jobs in the private sector. And part of the reason for that is that as I talk to people throughout the county, we've lost a focus on, there's folks that are saying there's no one to do welding, in the county. There's no one to do plumbing. There's no one to do, HVAC, things like that. That's that tech side, and I think that could come back. I think that's a job opportunity for kids leaving Davie High. And the last thing I'll say is this, from a standpoint of leaving Davie High School and going into the real world, there's things that the kids need to be helped to understand, the policies and the pursuits of folks that are in the state level and the United States Congress and the President. And one of those things is, things like currency. What is the fiat currency? How does the gold standard work? How are these things? What is fractional reserve banking? What is the overnight rate? All of these things that they're going to walk headlong into when they get out, when they get their first college loan, and they're trying to pay that back, when they're trying to figure out what happened to their interest rate on a mortgage. These are real life issues that I think we could bring to the folks leaving our high school, that when they leave Davie High School, they'll have a better understanding than the other students that are in the other schools around the nation.
Mr. Plott, thank you for your question, sir. Attributes to be a board member. I'm a listener and a learner, and I'm still learning. I have teaching and coaching experience for 16 years right here in Davie County. I have business world experience from 1994 to 2015 for 21 years. I think that I am solution-oriented. That irritates my wife a lot because sometimes she just wants to say things and not get an answer back.
I thought I was the only one that ever experienced that. Sorry.
I believe in asking questions, not to show disrespect or disbelief or anti-whatever. I believe in questioning why so that we can look for a better alternative. So I don't want to be thought of as a board member that just rubber stamps things. I want to discuss things and so that at least I understand them, and so that I feel confident that the other people that are going to sign their name on a piece of paper, that we all understand what it is that we're saying. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks again for the question, Mr. Potts. One of the reasons why I decided to run for the school board, even back in 2012, is there's a little short story I wanted to tell. I had 2 granddaughters, my 2 youngest ones. One was in 8th grade at William Ellis. One was in the, I believe, 10th grade at Davie High. They were a few years apart. And we were living over on Milling Road. And in the mail one day, I saw a letter from the school, each one of the schools, saying that both girls had missed 10 unexcused absences by November 30th of the school year. The school hadn't even been in 3 months, and they done missed 10 already. 10 days of unexcused absences. And I got thinking about it. I said, what's going on with our school system? why are we having this problem where the kids don't want to go to school? That's the reason why I ran in 2012, that's the reason why I ran in 2014, and that's the reason why I'm running in 2016. We need to get the kids into schools and keep them in the schools, because out of schools, if they're not in school, they're getting in trouble. So we have to have the parents, we have to have the teachers, we have to have administrators working together to keep these kids in school to graduate. That's all I can say. We need a fresh face on the school board, and I'm that fresh face. I will fight for the kids. I will find a way to keep these kids in school so they can graduate and not lose them to drugs or alcohol or jail or death.
So what I think that I can bring as a member of the school board, sitting here listening to the remarks made by the colleagues up here, and thinking back on my career of the 30 years in the military, and the fact that I retired as a full-bird colonel, if I look back at that and the assignments, the command positions, whether you're to the point you're the leader that they look to, and we're talking about several thousand soldiers. So when I think of that, I've got that leadership ability about me that the Army has developed over 30 years, and they saw fit enough and confident enough in me to give me even bigger and better assignments. So I don't know what they saw in me. They saw more than I saw in me, but it doesn't really matter because I wound up where I was. So I've got years and years and years of being in an educational arena, because when you're in the military and you're an officer, it's endless education, anywhere from the officer basic course to doing a war college, where you study wars and all of that. So I've been in that and all in between. But I think more important, or equally important to that, is I've had the experience in the classrooms. I know what those teachers go through. I know the headaches that they endure, especially when they can't get kids awake because they didn't get any sleep last night, or because they come to school without any food, so it's hard to come to school ready to learn. So that sounds nice, but sometimes that is not always the issue. And yet those teachers are certainly concerned about test scores, because that equates of evaluation to them. So all of those daily pressures that those teachers come through, or go through, I know about that. I was part of that. And I think that made me a better person. But I think it made me a better person because of that understanding of them, and the understanding of kids, and building relationship with kids, and saying that one thing in a classroom that you see the light up, and you know they've got the concept that you've been trying to teach. And yet it's hard when you try to teach in the classroom. Every kid comes to you, learns differently. So as a teacher, you've got to be able to be imaginative enough, thoughtful enough, considerate enough, and have time enough to reach ideally every one of those kids in that classroom, so that they can walk away a learner, a succeeder, and be a success. And at the high school level, particularly, it's important for those, and I've heard some comments about it, to leave that high school that is college ready, if they're willing to do that, and hopefully they will be, or that there's an opportunity for them to seek a trade that we need in the community. You know, we lost a lot of the common jobs many years ago to NAFTA and other programs. And so for the average person who doesn't go to high school, their life was to get a job at one of those factories. Like my mother, who worked for 25 years at one, making shirt collars is what she did. But those jobs are not there. So we've got to, as citizens of America, we have got to innovate and educate those kids so they can be competitive in our world. And I will never lose sight of that. I will never give up on that. And that is exactly why I'm running for the Board of Education. I want to be a part of that. Davie High School has got great schools. Davie County schools are great schools. I've had the opportunity to go in every one of those schools. And I've seen the teachers teaching at elementary level. I've seen the teachers teaching at the middle level. I know the teachers that have been teaching at high school level. We've got some great teachers out there. But also, I just read a week ago an article that ranks North Carolina as being the 49th state with regard to teacher pay. We don't pay them enough. I have personally known good teachers that were some of the best I've ever been exposed to, that were employed at Davie High School, that have left Davie County and go to Virginia because of pay. So there's many issues out there that need to be addressed. There's many issues out there that need to be fixed. And if I can be a part of that, then I'm doing what I want to do. Thank you very much.
So how can I contribute? I think first and foremost, and I think we've probably seen it here tonight more than anything, I want to protect Davie County schools, our classrooms, our teachers, our administrators from politics in the classroom, because it has no place in the classroom at all. This is not what we're about. We're not about picking sides, and we are here, we want to do what's best for our students. I want to be a part of things that are positive in this community. I don't want to be a part of tearing down each other. I want to be a part of the solutions to get us to where we need to go. As I mentioned, obviously the high school is still an issue, and I believe it will be forever. But there is so much more for this community to accomplish. I love Terry's comment about teachers and how teachers they have a target on their back right now, and I think they more than anything need someone to advocate for them, so that we don't have teachers who hear bickering in the community, who they already feel like they're not valued at the state level because of all of the attacks they're getting in public education. So we need to be building them up. We need to show them that we value them as educators, that we know that folks are called to that profession. Not everybody can do it. I know I couldn't have been a teacher, but the folks who are teachers, they are the ones we want to show them how much we value them. We also want to do the things that we can do, so when my children, hopefully my grandchildren, come to live here, that we have teachers who have looked at Davie County and who have said, gosh, that's a great place, and that's where I want to go and teach. You know, we want to be able to recruit the best and the brightest to come back to Davie County. And no, that's not one thing that I can do solely alone, but I can certainly be a part to help make that happen in this community. And if any one person on this panel can sit here and say that you can do one thing by yourself, you can't. You have to work as a team. And I truly believe that if we all put aside our differences and do for what's best for the students, the staff of this county, we have so much to look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to answer that question. But I want to go back just a little bit, because I sat here earlier and hearing the discussions that were going on, and it really concerned me a little bit. As a former educator in the central office here in this county, someone mentioned the word trust. If we can't trust the folks that we elect, and we can't trust our administrators, we've got a huge problem in this county if we can't develop that. If there's anything I want to bring, it would be the fact that you can trust me, and I can trust you. And we can trust others on the board that make decisions. You won't always agree with the decisions going to be made, but you know, if we can all come to the mindset of let's all work to make Davie County schools the best it could be, let's do those things that make a difference to children in their lives, we'll all be better off. A friend of mine named Bill Ward, he was deceased. You may know his son Randall, who was the head football coach at Davie High School, or Jeff. He was on the Board of Education when we made the decision in Davie County to merge the, first through 12 schools and build one single high school. And I had the opportunity to have some conversation with him before he died. And what I have experienced the last 3 to 4 years in listening and observing in this community are the same things that he told me that happened in 1952, 1953, when they were making a decision of we got to make the decision of what's best for students. And the agrarian society was leaving Davie County, and we had to have something more than a school at Shady Grove, for example, that had 15 to 25 kids that were going to graduate. And so some people had some foresight, and then they built trust. We've got to have that. Second thing that I would hope that I'll be able to help us refocus on, what happens in that classroom. I would venture to guess that we're going to have a teacher shortage here in the next 5 years if we don't already have a teacher shortage. It's not Davie County though, it's a statewide, it's a national concern. So we've got to have things here in Davie County that would attract a young lady or a young man right out of college to come and work in what I think is the best high school and the best school system in this state. I have seen the caring that goes on in the classroom on a daily basis. I've seen teachers weep when that child comes to school and everything's not just right. We got a great group of folks who are leading our children from our Board of Education on down, our administrators, and we, including myself, we have to learn how to trust each other and learn that if there's a question about finances, we have an audit every year that is conducted on our books. And I would suspect that there's not a contract given that the money is not pre-allocated. You can't do it. So I hope that I can be some voice that helps people believe that we have got to develop some trust. We've got to get focused on the classroom. We've got to work on bringing the best and brightest teachers to Davie County. Thank you.